Welcome to What's the Effie?
What the F?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to What the Effie. Today we have a slightly different show because I had been at the mastermind and was hoping to do a live, but it wasn't meant to be. I got sick and had to leave early. So as a result, I'm doing question and answer, period. But before I do, I thought I would share some information about the about the hi Alexis, about the mastermind. So please forgive me, but I'm trying new things in Yardstream. I had gotten to the mastermind, and I was staying with Robin Hurt, and Robin Hurt got in a little bit late. So I thought, okay, no problem. I will take an Uber. But instead of an Uber, this is what I got because of this dude, Stephen. And Stephen is the individual he's a mastermind student, and he and I are doing our first deal together. So that was a nice pick me up for sure. So he took me to my hotel. Well, we looked around a little bit. That was a pretty cool thing. Whoops. Okay, so I wanted to say that I got to meet Molly and all the girls ladies who do the TC group for PACE. So as you can see, it's a pretty big group, even without me. And I don't think Robin's doing TC, and Ashley's doing some independent, but with them also. So that was kind of cool. And I got to meet Angie, who I had just interviewed last week, which was pretty rocking. She is a gorgeous lady and so much fun. And there's Steve and Pace and Steve is smiling. I mean, Pace is smiling so much because he was so happy that I got my first deal. So that was cool. Then we had Justin and also his partner, Ted. They run the New England area. It was pretty cool. Here's this funny dude, Daniel, and us becoming tree huggers. And Gary from California, who was very interesting and so much fun. And Kendley and Greg, I'm so sorry I didn't get a chance to connect with you on that third day because I got sick and I had to leave home. So I met them, but just barely. That was a drag. Anyhow, and here's Carolina Allen and whoever this dude is. I think his name is Kevin. Anyhow, it's a lot of fun. This is kind of my godfather. He named What the Effie. He thought that would be a good name. So I did not come up with it. He did. But I recognized it was a good thing. And this is his beautiful wife and their little baby. So that was cool. And this is Jeremy Davis. If any of you don't know it, he created all of Discord, as well as does an awful lot in wholesaling. And he's got a big following with social media. So thank you, Jeremy. Do you guys know who this is? If you know this, well, that's not fair. He's wearing a name tag. This is Abraham, one of my favorite people. And this is Vina Jetty. Vina Jetty came and talked about multifamily, and Pace is actually humbled a little bit by her because she is a wonderful expert. And I personally feel that Pace has been helping her to become a mentor while she's been helping Pace to get into, and us to get into multifamily. So that's a win-win. Here we have Jeff Smith. He's the land guy, Robin and Mike Keys. And we're in Pace's studio, and he's one of his studios. As you can see, he's got tracks along the top. It's not the studio that we're used to seeing, but it is the one that he interviewed Grant Cardone in. And I think he does his Sunday podcast from here. And Laura also has her own studio. So this is all in the basement of their home. It's humongous. It's a beautiful home. And thank you, Pace, for letting us visit. And this is a studio that we know. And of course, I had to clash with everything that was there, but that's okay. I was still having fun. And here's Rachel Schwartz. She's a sweetheart. And Tech Chen. These are all people that we have gotten to know, and it's just awesome. I met a lot of new people. This is Marta with her gorgeous little girl. And that is it. So now let's see what we have. What do we got for any kind of questions? How am I feeling? Thank you, Brenda. I don't know if I sound hoarse. I feel hoarse, but I'm better. But I have water. Thank you for asking. If that's the most difficult question I have today, I'm safe. Any questions you have, let's see them. Okay. I'm not sure if we only have Brenda here. I saw Alexis, but this session is to ask any questions that you may have. I'm willing to answer almost any questions. So bring it on. If you've got it, bring it on. All right. I'm trying to see the chat and I don't quite see it. In full screen mode, you arrive at chat. Corner of my screen. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. I see where it is now. All right. Why don't you talk about your first deal? All right. I'm glad. So it seems like people attend Mastermind to be able to scale faster and network with others. Yes, Brenda, that's very true. That's very true. Pace will, he talks a lot about how to scale and how to overcome issues. And then he also introduces us to guest speakers, like Vina and Abraham and all the people that I missed on day 3. But one of the most precious things, in my opinion, about the Mastermind is that they do this thing called the hot seats. And everyone has to get up there and has to say what they've got and what's holding them back. What do they need? What have you got? What do you need? Those are the questions we should be asking each other when we connect, because if they have apples and we know someone who needs apples, we can put those together. If they need oranges and we have an orange, then we can help them. So it's all about finding out what each person has and what they need. And it's just awesome to see how many how many problems are solved and how many different models students use. And of course, networking is key. Network is really, really interesting. So that part is cool. So I'll talk a little bit about my first deal. And I didn't think I would be doing that. Otherwise, I would have brought pictures. A week ago Friday. So no, not last Friday, because the Mastermind was starting a week ago. Steve called me up and said, "Hey, do you know how to stop an auction?" And I said, "No, but I know how to find out." So of course I posted, and it was very lots of response really quickly. So I got one of the people that I thought was an expert on the phone, and was about to start going through the process. And this was the first time that Steve was coming to visit me in my new home with his wife, and we were going to go check out a very expensive, nice home in LaGrange. And as Steve was walking in the house, literally, the moment he's walking in, I got the guy on the phone. His name was Joe. He says, "Hey, did you manage to get anybody?" And I said, "Yep, hold on." And I pass him the phone. And Joe explains to Steve how to go through stopping the auction. So we enjoy our time together. The next morning, Steve is down at the courthouse with 10 minutes to spare, and he stops the auction. So this was very exciting. And he said, "Effie, I want to tell you about this deal. I think it's a great deal." And we didn't know all the numbers, but we knew enough that it sounded pretty promising. And he said, "Do you want to do this deal together?" And I was like, "Okay," because he and I have tried a couple different deals together. We go back now almost a year. I adore him. He's come up a number of times to help me with cold calling, and he has had 20 years of general contracting business, so he knows what he's doing. And he's like, "Okay, here's what here's the information." So I'm like, "Okay, I'm going to do a title search, and I'm going to order a house inspection, and I'll be down there." And he's like, "Well, I've already gone through the house. I know basically what it is." I said, "No, I'm not buying a house without a house inspection." The last one turned out the electric that I almost did. It needed full electrical. That added another 10 to 12 grand. It broke the deal. He said, okay. So I go down on, I think it was Tuesday, because I was flying out on Wednesday. And it was rather funny because it is a hoarder house. Now, if Steve was on here, he'd yell, "It's not a hoarder house," because for him, a hoarder house is when you have to walk on top of everything. There's no flooring at all. And this house had little paths that you could walk through, but just horrible. I'm like, it's a hoarder house. The outside had like 11 lawnmowers, 10 brand new bikes that looked like they weren't his. But anyways, long story short, I'm like, "Oh, I don't know about this." You should see the look on my face on the pictures when I saw the house. I was like, "I don't think I'm doing this." And he's like, "It's no problem. Don't worry about it." So we go through with the inspector. The inspector talks to us outside. He said, "It looks pretty solid, but of course I can't see because they've got so much junk." He said, "But normally you're going to have a big cost just pulling this stuff out. But once you pull it out, it shouldn't be too bad." I'm like, "Okay, that's interesting that he should say that." And Steve was unfazed. Steve was like, "Okay, let's hop in your car instead of having two cars." And, he directed me to another hoarder house that he had bought. And this was a nice house. And he said, "This used to be a hoarder house, a real hoarder house." And he showed it to me, and they were like feet and feet of garbage. And he says, "I know what I'm doing, and you don't need to worry. This is going to be that good, if not better." I'm like, "Wow, I don't know." But I was very impressed. And then he took me to a home that they're working on right now to make an Airbnb. It was in, I think, 1886 or so. It's a beautiful house. And they're bringing it fully back. And he has like an entire crew that he basically keeps on roll the whole time because we're always working many different projects. So when I saw what they were doing and the quality of work, I was like, "Wow, Steve, I'm so impressed." He's like, "Oh yeah, you need to see this because you don't have the vision for this type of a house," because I'd never been in a house that was that bad. And I was like, "Okay." And we went to another Airbnb that they were just getting ready to open, and it was beautiful. I really liked it. And he's partnered with Charlie and Maria Jose, who are in our group. They're Nicaraguan, and I love them. I'm going to do business with them. So I know that he's keeping them happy. And I was like, "Okay, we got a deal." So I feel like I'm taking a leap of faith of that high, but very minimal. So I'm very, very excited. And we have not yet closed, but the the seller will leave. We're in the process of getting the final reinstatement numbers from the bank. And then when it's cleaned out and everything is brought back, he'll have his crew working on it. So I'll pay him a wholesale fee because I feel like that would be the right thing to do because he found it. And I'll pay him the fee for doing the work. But at the same time, I'm bringing some of the capital, but there's a cap, and anything that goes over that, he needs to bring. So the JV agreement is very, it's made so that we can both feel like we are 50-50. So that's really fantastic. And we have the same philosophy. It's going to be buy and hold. And we're probably going to pad split it because it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. So it's either going to be a pad split, maybe midterm, but I think pad split is what it's going to be. And we're going to keep it for long term. We've already made our goal to pull some money out once we've got it so that we can take that money and move forward on other things. And my idea is JV, JV, JV maybe if you need it again, and then partner. So I intend to have multiple partnerships throughout the States with people like Steve, where I've known him for quite a while. And that's how I'm going to grow my business because, I'm one little person and I want to make it really big. Thank you, Brenda. I'm very excited, to be honest. So I want to make sure that I grow as much as I can and that I bring value to the group. And I know that my strengths are networking and that capital always helps to have capital. So anyhow, that's the basics of the first deal. Do we have any other questions? I know that it's Memorial Day today, and happy Memorial Day, everyone, and happy Remembrance Day if you're Canadian. But let me know if you have any questions. Thank you, Jermaine. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, so bring them out. Alexis, what have you got? Nothing you want to ask me at all? Wow, it's like pulling teeth here. I thought that I'd be beating you guys back on the questions. It's either that or that it's Memorial Day, but I decided I can't miss my podcast. Even though it is Memorial Day, I want to build consistency. So here I am. Anything at all? No questions? Wow, this is going to be a short podcast. All right. What type of deals do you consider as a PML? Well, Brenda, I will say that in Sub 2 recently, there have been a number of PMLs and gators that have lost money. It seems like as the prices are going down, and the cost of doing a flip are kind of going up, it's a little risky to do any kind of fix and flip. So I won't do any fix and flips because as opposed to what I can get with a PML right now, my buying power for using my money for myself is greater. So at this time, I have done 3 lends and I'm happy about them. But I probably won't do too many more until the market goes in the other direction. I will still lend. I want to become a sponsor in the long run. So I want to have assets. I'm going to have properties, whether they're short term or whether they're storage or whether they're land. I'm going to have assets. And I'll also do the lending, but the lending is going to be a little bit slower. I've lent to Pace and to Abraham, which of course feels super safe, and to two other individuals, which also feels super safe. But right now, I am not lending to anyone that I don't know. So Brenda, you and I need to get to know each other. So, and this is what I say for anybody who wants to borrow money from a PML. It's interesting. I get a lot of DMs, or they hit me up on IG and they're like, "Hey, I have this deal. Will you lend? I need it tomorrow." And I'm like, "Who is this? Do I even know them?" I'm like, "No, I don't know them." "Oh, I met them a week ago." It doesn't work that way. So build your relationships when you don't need the money, and get to know people, and take your time. And then you have to decide, what kind of a borrower are you? Because Vina Jetty talks about how she had borrowed money on a deal, and it started to go south. And she was sickened by the fact that her, lenders weren't going to be paid back. And of course, we're talking multi-millions here. And so she told her, husband, "We're going to have to sell everything because I can't let my lenders lose money." And he's like, "Don't be ridiculous. Tell them everything you're doing, and we'll just, hang on and keep going." And communication is very, very important. So when she was communicating with her lenders, and she had already done business with a lot of them many times, they understood. But I love her integrity, that she was worried sick that her lenders were not going to get their money back, and was damn serious about having to, rather lose herself than to let her lenders lose. And in sub 2, unfortunately, I've heard this phrase too many times. "Well, I don't know what the big deal is. I mean, it's just business after all. I mean, that when you're lending money, you might lose money." That doesn't cut it, because we're not like a bank. And a bank would come after you. And we will come after you. So I just feel that as a PML, I'm building my relationships so that when I lend, I feel super comfortable. And I put it this way. If I had my granddaughter in my hands and I said, "Here's my granddaughter. I got to be gone for 3 days. Take care of her," and left. If I trust you enough to do that, then I'll trust you to lend money too. So I think that a private money lender is different than a hard money lender. A hard money lender, of course, is the institutional ones that will happily lend you what you want for a whole lot more. And they will, come after you in a split second. A PML is a private money lender. The private money is, between people. You want to make sure that you know the lender and that you value that relationship. And sometimes these people think that as private money lenders, we don't talk. That's not true. Everyone who has stiffed a private money lender is on a list. And we talk with each other, and we always share. Don't lend to this person. They haven't paid so-and-so back. They've walked away. They don't care. They're not communicating. So the next time that person wants money, they're not going to get it from sub 2, because we do talk. And I know that, the New Reach and Pace don't want us to name people, although we have people like Derek who is brave as heck and will name people. But whether they're named publicly or not, we talk about it. So you're dirt. You're dirt. If you treat it like, what the heck, it's just business. Why are you so worried? Like if we came in and took your possessions out of your home, really, would you be saying, it's not personal, you wouldn't be saying that. And we don't want to do that. Of course not. So that's why it's so important to get to know your private money lender. So I'd lend money to Derek anytime, not that he needs it. He's probably got more than me. But I also would leave my granddaughter with him and say, here, I got to go, and know that she'd be safe. Anyhow, so that's my own approach on it. And Margie says to create advice on borrowing. Thank you, Margie. Yeah, advice on borrowing. Do not borrow unless you are determined you can pay back, no matter what. Okay, and like Vina, if you have to sell something you've got, then so be it. But don't go in thinking of it lightly. So instead, I recommend that you do not borrow unless it's going to be so safe in the deal that you know that you're going to be fine and that you're prepared to liquidate whatever you have to, make good. Your word is all you've got. So we don't want to waste that for the sake of money. No, we don't. Derek says that Samantha would be safe. I've learned from my wife how to handle babies. That's so cute. Yep, I agree. So, yep. So that's what I would say about borrowing. You don't borrow unless you're determined that you are going to pay back, and never, send money to an individual. Always send it to escrow and title and things of that sort. You don't want to be in trouble. And I've had too many people tell me, yeah, I sent it to him and then he walked away. Wow. And you're surprised? Come on, guys. Pace tells us only send it to title. So that's what you got to do. And yeah, you're right, Brenda. 100% your word is your bond. Once you've blown it, you've blown it. But all right. What other kind of questions do you have? Nothing's too personal. Almost. I did say almost. So Margie, I know you're working with your son, which I think is awesome. Any questions on that aspect? Boy, you guys are in fits and spurts today. It's funny because our audience is a little small. I know it is Memorial Day, and hopefully you're enjoying yourself. But what have you always wanted to know about me? Anything at all? Because I've had people say to me, I want you to talk about yourself. I said, talk about myself. What for? I don't think I'm that interesting. And I guess you people don't think so either, because nobody's asking me any questions about myself. So let's see what you got. Hi, Pansy. I'm here to answer questions. Anything you've got, let me know, particularly about myself, because that's something I do know. But I thought I would give this that opportunity so I could get it out of the way. No one wants to know how tall I am, or I don't know why these glasses suit me so well. Oh, it was funny in the mastermind. Pace learned that I lost my glasses during the skydiving, and he goes, "Oh no, not the blue ones." And I was like, "No, I have the blue ones, because these are computer glasses. So otherwise, I'd have them made in, I have them made in regular because I wear bifocals." What do you do before investing? In a deal or a person? Well, what I do is I'm building my business, Pansy, by getting to know people and JVing. That's what I want to do. So I'm looking for skill sets. So Pansy, what's your skill set? What's the thing you do best? Tell me what you think queen at doing this? What is it that you do well? Well, whatever that is, I'll answer Brenda's question in a minute, but whatever it is that you're doing well, and if it's in an area that I am interested in, then I would be interested in JVing once we have built relationships. So it's about the relationship and not necessarily just the investment, because if you said you're interested, that you do land really well, and that's your expertise, well, then you'd know how to underwrite a piece of land. So if you came back and said, okay, this is the piece of land I want to do, and this is how I see it. Okay, now the questions are coming. I would definitely go to a couple of other people because, of course, I'm really connected, and have it double checked with comping. And if it's good, then we're ready to go. All right. So what was my career? But wait, I said to Brenda I'd answer my question about my hometown. Brenda, I'm now living in Countryside, Illinois. And Countryside is very nice. I do like it. I have a big yard, which is great, except that there's so many rabbits. They're coming after my garden, the little rats. Anyways, so I feel like I'm just feeding rabbits. That's not good. But I've even thought about rabbits too. But I'm just kidding, of course. So I like it very much. But here's the funny thing. The road in front of me, the other side of it is not Countryside. The other side of it is LaGrange Highlights. So in some places, my water bill comes from LaGrange Highlands. My garbage comes from Countryside. It's like everywhere. It's like they're all grabbing at me. Kind of funny, to say the least. But yeah, so what was my career before investing? Most recently, my career before investing was teaching adults English as a second language in Vancouver. Vancouver happens to be the #2 city in the world for teaching ESL after London. And as a result, about 40,000 people from around the world come in during the summertime and pay very good money to learn English. So I was teaching English to people who were a minimum of 16 years old, and my oldest student was 72. Different reading, writing, and speaking. So it was a lot of fun. I got to meet different cultures. So that's why when Pace talks about Kevin being Korean, I know what that means. I have a lot of Korean students. I had students from all over the world, so I have some favorites that I really took to. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, And I also used to be what they call an IELTS examiner. An IELTS, the acronym IELTS, stands for International English Language Testing System. And it's actually part of the Queen's, now I guess the King's Council, the British King's Council. So that body is one of the largest for testing English competency to get into universities, to get into countries, for citizenship, to be accepted by employers, all sorts of things. So that looked like me receiving their writing and grading on a very strict grid. And then also being in a room where someone walks in, I don't get to meet them or anything before they walk in. And for 15 minutes, they're asked very structured questions. And the whole time they're there, I'm going like this in my brain to figure out what level they are at. And that was also very interesting. So that's what I did most recently. Thanks, Tigger. I am feeling better. When I was there and I had to feel like pooparoo to leave on the third day because it meant I was missing the hot seats. My eyes aren't burning anymore. It's just that I have a sore throat. So, yeah, that's what I was doing before. And oh yeah, Pansy, has been living in the kind of area I'm in, where I'm right on the border. It's kind of crazy, but it was good. So there was a Zoom that Pace did. You know, I've been on the Zooms ever since I started, which is 13 months ago. And there was a Zoom where there was a lady, and I can't remember what her language. I think she was Spanish, and she was saying that her English stops her from having the confidence to go forward. And I, you know, being who I am, jumped in and called her out on it, you know, because Pace calls on me, and I, you know, just basically said, as an ESL teacher for the last 13 years, she's full of shit. Yeah, her English was fine. It wasn't perfect, but it's fine. Because if your English is such that people cannot understand you, so you lose comprehension, that's an issue. Because an natural English speaker's mind goes, "What the heck are they saying? Blah 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 blah. I'm upset. I don't know what's going on. What did I miss?" You know, and they give up. But her English was good, and it was pretty good. It was only her accent, and she thanked me for that, and we had a conversation, and I explained the differences, and she went on. But I've had a lot of people reach out to me who say they felt the same way about their English, and that Zoom has helped them a lot. You know, that that they don't have to worry about their accent, because I learned English as a second language also. And when I came to Vancouver, I was 5.5. And back then, people would look at you if you had an accent, and they would go, foreigner, you know, and they would kind of think like they are better than you. That's how the English who were already here treated you if you had an accent. So when I was young in the first grade, I said, I got to get rid of my accent. I have to work real hard to get rid of it. So I worked like my tail off to get rid of that accent, and it was gone. But now when you come into the country and you speak English with an accent, as long as it doesn't impede comprehension, now people go, ooh, this person is a newcomer, not a foreigner. They say a newcomer, and they have at least one other language. Oh, I better be on my toes because they know so much more. So it's a plus. So it's completely taken an about turn. And I think that people don't realize that because they don't know the history, and they have self-doubt when they shouldn't. You know, people tell you if they don't understand your accent, you know, and you do score very lowly in the IELTS exam if your accent is such that it impedes. But if people can understand it, you're good. It's a positive. So that's a very important thing to keep in mind. I learned a lot about that. Times are changing. All right. Any other questions? What have we got? Come on, guys. Give me some questions. Oh, and I mustn't forget. I always forget this. What do you need for your business? Oh, Tigger, that's an awesome question. That's what you're supposed to ask. What do you need for your business? I need the expertise that other people have. So like I said before, I'm interested in building JVs, and I am interested. I need to find a place in Illinois that I can do that's relatively a really small area, because I want to keep it as an Airbnb when I leave. This is a rental I'm in. And it's very small, but I am going to be reaching out to wholesalers in this area, and I'll get this. I'll find it. But I'm interested in Florida and in Texas, in the Carolinas, Tennessee, And I'm interested in what I call mid California, somewhere between, I want Monterey County. So Monterey County is a third of the way down on the coast between San Francisco and LA. So it's what most people will call mid. And it's, I think, one of the most beautiful spots in the entire USA. And that's where I want to have my own homestead. So Monterey County includes the town of Monterey, Seaside, Pacific Grove, Pebble Beach, Big Sur, Carmel, and a couple of others. It's mucho expensive, but I don't care. That's where I want to be. And anyone knows anything there, that would be awesome. Or has any contacts there, that would be pretty cool. So what I'm looking for, Tigger, is the expertise. For example, Rory isn't on this right now, but Rory De Silva is a storage specialist. He works for one of the largest storage companies in Canada that has them in Florida, and they're growing in the States. So when it comes to storage, I know I'm going to do something with Rory because he has the expertise. So, JV partnership. That's what I'm looking to do. And, what is your expertise, Tigger? Hi, Angie. Would you trust me to take care of your granddaughter for 3 days? Jasper, I love you a lot, and I would like to leave you with my granddaughter, but you don't even have a girlfriend yet, buddy. I don't know. You'd have to convince me a little bit that you know how to change a diaper, that you know how to feed her, and things like that. But yeah, maybe I should find an analogy that doesn't necessarily eliminate people who haven't had children. I don't know. So that's funny, Jasper. That's very funny. Oh, thank you, Angie. I was so sad to leave. But I didn't want to make anyone sick. It's not good to make other people sick. And I, left, and I missed you going live on Sunday. I still want to call it Sunday service, but you know what I'm saying. I've been dating my girlfriend for 2 years. Okay, cool. Does she have early childhood experience? I love it. That's wonderful. Was it all a lie? He says. Oh my gosh. So, connector, builder, DT. Oh, direct agent. Good. Good, Tigger. And Pansy, I see that you grew up in Chicago and know most of the neighborhoods. Good. That would be very helpful, not to have to explain everything, because I'm still learning it. I'm really still just learning it. So yeah, there's a lot. So, all right. So any other kind of questions for me? Angie, what do you want to know? Oh yeah, if you haven't subscribed, please do. I need every subscriber I can get. I'm heading close to 1,000, guys, which is exciting for me, but not there yet. But we'll see. And I'm supposed to remind you to hit the like buttons and to comment on YouTube. I don't know. I keep forgetting those things. Today, since it's just me, I had, pulled up the pictures. Angie, you missed the pictures of yourself, girl. But it's nice to see. Tigger, I am, but in a limited sense. Limited says, I'm not doing it as much as I will be in the future. I want to become a sponsor. In order to become a sponsor, I have to have done accredited lending and I have to have done syndication. I'm going to be doing syndication with PACE on the Little Guy Fund, and I will be accredited later in the summer. So maybe by the end of the year, I might do sponsorship. We'll see. Definitely by next year. I want to really grow it big, but I also want to go slowly because of the fact that people have been losing money when I think that if they were just super picky, it might be okay. They might not be. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard. And you know what? I'll tell you, when people, even people I know, yes, Angie, I am a PML. I had a lady who, in Sub2, who had done just about everything wrong. And all the way along, I was like, oh, be careful. I don't think you should do that. I don't think that, and I don't think that's a good move. And then, she's moving along. And getting into deeper trouble. And the end of the year comes along and she says, I need your help. And I'm like, what? And she's like, I need you to lend me X amount of money just for the weekend. I'm like, why? And she's like, because I've decided that person will shake loose my money if I just go after him with the lawyer. And I was like, and she called me a hard ass. And I was like, call me what you want, but I'm not going to lend money to someone who's been losing it all along throughout the entire year. And I've been saying, you shouldn't do that, and getting into it deeper and deeper and deeper, and then thinks that she can use my money to hire a lawyer. It's not attachable. If I can't attach it, why would I lend money? Not lending money for private business, only for assets. So yeah, so that's what happened there. But so Brenda, is that Wesley Grant? What was the question for Wesley? Oh yes, Wesley Grant does do some sponsoring. That's right. He's doing quite well, so that's awesome. Yep, he does. And yep, that's right. Amazing strategies. Yeah, you can make really good money. When I first met Pace, he said to me, Effie, you should be a sponsor. And I understand why. I'm just not ready to be quite yet. So that's okay. And besides, you have to qualify, meaning like accredited investor is an accreditation that banks give. And they don't give it just because you want it. So I have to earn it. There are steps I have to go through, and I'm not ready to go through them yet. So it's all good. Yeah, it's good. So Tigger, I see that you state that you have someone who needs a PML this week, 90 days for 12% return. Yeah, that would be a no for me because someone is not who I lend to. I lend only to people who I really know and trust. Like that's why Jasper was saying, would you leave your granddaughter with me? If I can leave my granddaughter with you, then I know I can trust you. So no, I don't lend like down the daisy chain. So I don't know if I ever will. Anyhow, so any other questions? So that's a no, guy. Yes. Yeah, no, I wouldn't leave my granddaughter with someone. If you say, hey, I have someone, they'll take your granddaughter. I'd be like, nope. Okay, they are in Sub2. Pretty sure you know her. I will PM you. Oh, maybe. But okay, you can PM me. Right. Gotta trust you with my grandbaby. That's for sure. That's my judgment. Now, You know what's really funny? Besides the fact that you guys are asking me about lending, no one's asked me any personal questions, which is okay with me. But that's what people kept saying. They wanted to know. And I was like, okay, let's get that out of the way. So it's kind of funny that you guys aren't, that's not come up. So other than what did I do before, which is okay. So I'm getting better at handling YardStream. So I'm making fewer and fewer mistakes, and that's good. I thought that I could handle it all by myself when I was doing the interview with Ty, and oh my God, that was such a disaster. Took me a while. So yeah, I don't know if I'll do that again, all by myself. I just feel like I don't have that confidence yet, and that's okay. But those of you who have the idea of doing a podcast, definitely have someone who is online with you. First, you got to prepare as much as possible so that you aren't flat-footed, but also make sure that you have a moderator. I'm paying about $100 an episode for moderating, which is not bad. And there are people in Sub2 who will do it for free, which is nice. That's very nice. Thank you, Vanessa. Every piece of encouragement means a lot when you're at my level. Well, I think it will always mean a lot, but because I wasn't really ready to jump in, but thanks to Pace and Abraham, and I never ceased to remind them that they pushed me into this. But anyhow, I would like you to come on with me when I get my YouTube done as well. Stay tuned. Awesome, Tigger. For sure. I've only been invited to one, and I'm kind of putting that one off. But I'd come on yours for sure. Thank you. Oh yes, I thank you. Yeah, Eddie Charger was awesome, and I do try to be thoughtful about the questions that I ask, because I only get the one chance to interview them pretty much, except for Ty. Ty was such a sweetheart. He volunteered to come back and let the world show the world that I can do it. But I don't think I'll do it by myself with Ty. Not for a while, that's for sure. But thank you. Yeah, it's important to not just bring them on and then say talk. Instead, have some kind of an agenda and ask them questions that I think people would want to know the answers to. Although the very first one I did with Abraham, I took questions from the audience and I tried to go with that, and that was a mistake. Because I didn't get to ask him the things I wanted to, and it didn't have the direction. There was just like boop, 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 boop. And I was like, okay, this isn't working. So if I'm having a guest, like next week, I'm having the Tanisha Epps, and there's something that you want to ask, you can always DM me and I'll consider it, but I can't for sure say, because it all depends on too many things. And I decided after Abraham that I will not be basing my questions on the questions in the audience, because the audience is too diverse. So, except for now. So, I don't know. Yeah, Tigger, I encourage you to do it. It is a responsibility, because here I am not feeling great, but I'm happy to be here. And I do think consistency is super important. So you do have that accountability that it holds you to. I think I'm on my 8th or 9th now, and I don't intend to ever miss until, I don't think I ever will miss. It's too important. Consistency is too important. And I know it will bring you things, because I've had people reach out to me who aren't in Sub2. And they say, I follow you on Instagram and on YouTube, and I'm like, where did you hear about me? I'm surprised by it, but it is the internet. So I know that eventually it'll do exactly what Pace said, and that is that it brings you business because it brought all of us to Pace. And I've already lent him money, and we have almost all given him money. Well, not him, New Reach. So I do know that it does work. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's just interesting because, you think, oh, who's going to want to listen to me? Who wants to look at me? This isn't going to bring anybody in. But I felt that way about Sub 2 also. I thought I'd be in the back of the back looking over the heads of all these younger people and just be happy that I'm in the group. But it's not what's happened. A lot of people have, for some reason or another, have been drawn to me and have been very, very kind. And that's where I've gotten my opportunities from. So, and that's why I want to build my model on JVing. And I know that that's going to work. And I'm going to visit every property I have. So I get to visit the people that I do JVing with, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that's important to me. Oh yeah. And just 1 week is a perfect amount to get in. Yes, some do more. I know Justin, I forgot his last name. Sorry. Does it every day. I don't know how he does it. That's hard because it's like a full-time business. And I started with the adverts, those flyers, and they're nice, and I know people appreciate them, but they cost a fortune. And it's money going out, not coming in. So you really want to think about how to build your own little hook, because those little adverts are part of my hook. People know me from that now. And yeah, well, that's right. It started with Gator Mama. You bet. Yeah, that's true. People brand you themselves, even if you don't want to be branded. So, yep, it works that way. And sometimes you go with it, and other times you outgrow it, whatever. But I love what the FE that there hasn't been a single person who has said, I think that's disrespectful or I don't like it. So that's good. If I ever meet that person, I'll be like, too bad. So I'm happy about that for sure. And all right. So I had thought there'd be some questions about my my childhood, and there has not. So it's okay. I am going to share one of the first pictures of me that was ever taken. So this is me in Greece with my very first pair of shoes. And I was very happy with those shoes because they were my first pair. And I'm very flat-footed because for the first 5 years I didn't wear shoes. And the reason that I got those shoes is because those shoes had to be bought to get on the vessel that brought us to Canada. So it was kind of interesting to see that those shoes, I hated those shoes by the time I got to Canada because I saw them as the shoes that took me away from my grandma. And I'll show you a picture of her, my grandma. This was my grandma. And, this is when I was 17. And all the other pictures I have standing next to her, she had her hand on my shorts and she was pulling them down because she thought that was disrespectful that I should show my thighs. But she was such a sweetheart. And I love her very, very much. I think grandmas are very special. In Greek, we call her Yaya. So it was kind of cool. It was kind of cool to have her as my Yaya. Anyhow, I think, now let me see, I'm going to practice closing the share. Yep, I did it. I'm practicing new skills, guys. Yeah, it was pretty hot. It was pretty hot when I was young. Now I'm just a grandma myself. and that's okay. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Anyhow, I think that that is it. So I am going to practice the outro, and give me a sec as I go to the outro and we say goodbye.